Grissom for placement hearing. Mr. Albie's with us for the department. Ms. Brown is with us for CASA. Mr. Harris is with us representing the children. Ms. Ratliff is with us representing the mother who's incarcerated. And Ms. Kincaid is with us representing the father who's incarcerated. All right, let me quickly run down the waiting room.
Your Honor, Patricia, I'm sorry.
Haley Grissom, Your Honor, I believe is my caseworker in this case.
And Your Honor, I'm going to call Patricia as a witness.
Okay, all right, I'll leave her in the waiting room.
And Trina Younger, judge, is a witness.
Okay.
And Peggy Cheney is our advocate, Your Honor.
Okay, I'll get Peggy in.
And Your Honor, I expected Mr. Cochran to be here this morning. I sent the leak to the jail yesterday and they said that they would have him here. So if you see anything from Great County Jail, I'd appreciate if he could get in here.
All right.
And Judge, I did as well. I spoke to the jail as well, and they were going to have my client on this morning. And then this morning, Miss Younger contacted me and said she had talked to the jail, and because they were going to have Mr. Cochran on, they couldn't have my client on as well. I don't know why that is, but
I don't either, especially when it's your motion.
I know.
I must have called earlier in the day than you, Ms. Ratliff.
Who is?
I sent it to him a week ago.
You said you talked. You said you talked to who? Younger?
Yes, Miss Younger this morning had talked.
Who is she?
She's my client's mother. She had spoken to her at the jail, and they told her that she wasn't going to have her on. They were going to have her on.
Is Trina Younger? Is she a witness?
She is. She's the maternal grandmother proposed placement.
Okay, I'm just trying to be sure everybody understands that family members or placement, unless they're witnesses, they need to be watching on YouTube and not try to get into our hearings. So, okay, that's fine.
Right.
All right, then. I don't see anybody from the jail. We've got till 10 o'clock. I don't mind giving it a couple more minutes.
Judge, I don't necessarily have to call my client for purposes of my motion. I don't have to put on her testimony today. I intended to call Miss Grissom and then Miss Younger.
Okay, all right. Well, then we will
Your
go.
Honor, if I may, can I call the jail just really quickly and see if they've got him set up, hopefully?
Yeah, and you might point out to him that this motion's filed by Ms. Cochran's lawyer. I don't see why she can't sit in there too.
Okay,
Anyway.
thank you, Your Honor.
All right, I'll wait till I hear back from Savannah. I'll finish my breakfast while we're doing that.
Well, supposedly they planned to have Cassandra here this morning, and they didn't plan to have my client. So they're currently, I guess, getting them ready. I'm not sure, Your Honor.
All right, well, we've got an hour, so we'll give them some time.
All right, thank you.
We had Cassandra Cochran in the waiting room, and I let her in, and she disappeared. No, there she is. Okay. She's just not in the camera frame yet. All right. Ms. Cochran is now in the picture. So, Ms. Ratliff, this is your motion, so you can call your first witness.
Judge, I'm going to call the department's worker, Miss Grissom.
Okay. Ms. Grissom, if you'd raise your right hand, you swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ratliff.
And you are the worker assigned to the case that we're here on today. And are you the worker that was assigned when these home studies were conducted on the maternal grandmother, Trina Younger?
Yes.
And also on the paternal relatives, Mr. and Mrs. Voss?
Yes, ma'am.
And the Voss's relation to Carissa, what is that?
I believe that she's a paternal cousin.
Mrs. Voss is a cousin to Mr. Cochran, the father of Carissa, correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And just so we're clear here, the home study on Miss Younger, it was filed with the court on December 22nd, 2022, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Judge, I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of the home study that was filed with the court December 22nd on Miss Younger.
All right, so noted.
And the home study, ma'am, on the bosses, it was filed with the court, ma'am, on, sorry, I'm getting that date. I'm scrolled way too down now. On January 26th of 2023. Judge, I'd ask the court to take judicial notice of that home study.
So noted.
Ma'am, the boss's home study was denied. Can you speak to the reasons why the boss's home study was denied?
The reasons listed for that denial, well, the biggest one was that they might not be protective of Carissa based on the fact that they stated that they didn't believe the allegations against Cody Cochran. There were also some concerns about income, their expenses exceeding their income, and concerns about employment history and housing history, just instability in those areas. And also they were providing vague and misleading information to the contractor that did that home study.
Speak to the allegations. The allegations regarding Mr. Cochran, those are the same reasons why Mr. Cochran is currently incarcerated, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And Mr. and Mrs. Voss, did they have a prior relationship with Carissa?
Not that I know of, not a substantial one that I'm aware of.
All right. And have they had any visitations with Carissa during the course of this case?
No, they have not.
Were they offered any visitation by the department?
We did not do that because the home study was denied. So there wasn't a chance of her being placed with them. So no visitations were never offered.
Okay. And with regard to the vague and misleading statements, can you speak to what types of issues they were not forthcoming about?
I don't have a lot of firsthand knowledge about that. I just know that one of the concerns was that they would just say really vague things or say incorrect information that the contractor would have to like dig for more information. And it would end up being incorrect.
Okay, let's talk about Miss Younger. She's Carissa's maternal grandmother. Her name was offered at the beginning of this case, correct?
Yes.
And she lives out of state, so it took some time to get her home study done in North Dakota. That was completed in December. Was she visiting with Carissa throughout the case while that was going on?
Yes, she was.
And how often was she visiting with Carissa?
They had an established relationship. She's gone up there. Carissa has even visited her up in North Dakota before this case started. And they have phone calls almost daily, I think every morning. And then when she does come down to the area, she is able to see her.
Okay. And did she come down in September for Carissa's birthday?
Yes, she did.
All right. And has she been down since then?
I don't know that she's been down since then, but she has had phone calls with her since then.
Okay. And her home study was approved. There were no issues.
No, there were no concerns listed on her home study.
And has she been ready to take Carissa into her home since December?
Yes, ma'am.
And what is the department's position at this time with regard to placement of Carissa?
St. Francis would like to see her placed with Trina Younger.
Okay. And right now, Carissa is placed where?
She's with some fictive kin.
All right. And was that always intended to be a temporary placement until either the child could be returned to a parent or this home study could be completed and she could be placed with Miss Younger?
Yes.
Does the department have any concerns at all about her being placed with Miss Younger?
No, we do not.
Pass the witness.
All right, Mr. Albee?
Ms. Grissom, would you agree with me that there is a clear, distinct difference between the two home studies?
Yes, I would.
In Miss Younger's home study, there was a clearly established relationship between Carissa and Miss Younger.
That's correct.
Miss Younger had been exercising and has been exercising regular contact and visitation with Carissa.
Yes.
On the other hand, the Vosses do not have a clear established relationship with Carissa.
No, they don't.
And in fact, they're not parents and they've not raised children.
That's correct.
Do you have any concerns at this time if Carissa was sent to Miss Younger in North Dakota?
No, I don't have any concerns.
Does either the department or St. Francis have connections or a way to make sure that there is someone who is actively involved in monitoring the home in North Dakota? Excuse me.
Yes, a worker will be there doing business just like if she was here.
I'll pass witness, Your Honor.
Right, thank you. Ms. Grissom, Ms. Ratliff hit on this, and I don't want to go into details about the father's charges because we're on YouTube. But what is Ms. Cochran currently incarcerated for? Again, there's no need to go into any details because of the nature of it. So never mind. I found it in my notes from the original removal. So, okay, Ms. Kincaid, questions?
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Grissom, during the course of your involvement in the case, have you become familiar with Eddie Cochran and Patricia Cochran?
No, I haven't.
You've never heard from or talked to Eddie or Patricia Cochran?
I have not personally, no.
Okay. If there were other family members that were located closer in the state of Texas, would that be someone the department would be willing to do a home study on?
Yes, we would always want to do home studies on any potential relatives, yes.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right, thank you. Mr. Harris.
Judge, I don't have any questions. I will have a very strong recommendation for the court, but no questions.
All right, thank you. Okay, Ms. Ratliff, any further witnesses?
I'm thinking, Judge. Judge, I would just call Ms. Younger at this time.
Trina Younger?
Yes.
Okay. All right, Ms. Younger, if you would, raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Ms. Ratliff.
Morning, Ms. Younger, can I have you state your name, please?
Trina Marie Younger.
And Trina, you're the maternal grandmother of Carissa Cochran, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've completed and there's been approved a home study on your home in North Dakota, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And residing there in the home with you is your husband and you?
Yes, and my son Vincent and my son Andrew.
And how old are they?
Vincent is 16 and Andrew is 33.
Okay. And you, Carissa knows Vincent and Andrew.
Oh, yes.
Right. She's had a prior relationship prior to this case with all of you, correct?
Yes, she lived with us for a year prior. Yes.
All right. You have asked and requested that Carissa be placed in your home. And you have visited with her throughout this case. Are you prepared to take her into your home today if the court orders that?
Yes, ma'am. Her room is ready.
Okay. Tell me what your plan is. If the court were to order a placement with you today, what your plan is to have Carissa placed in your home. But when you're planning on what your plan is.
Couldn't understand, you cut out.
What's your plan?
I would leave today if the judge said so, but there's a big snowstorm between us and you. So my plan would be if the judge said, yes, you may come get her, I will leave first thing tomorrow morning.
Okay. And her room's ready and you have everything you need for her?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are, actually, you have a relationship with the current placement, correct?
Yes, yes.
So you guys communicate about all her needs and everything?
Absolutely, yes.
Do you have anything else today that you want to communicate to the court about Carissa or placement of Carissa?
She is we talk every day, as you know. We Zoom call as much as we can. Usually it's 2 or 3 times a week, but we talk daily multiple times because she does know how to use a phone. And she's like, can I come yet? Can I come yet? I'm ready now. I've got my bag packed. I was like, no, Carissa, you have to wait. Mimi will be there soon. So she's ready. We're ready.
All right. Thank you. Pass the witness.
All right. Ms. Younger, at the end of this case, if the need were to arise, are you willing to keep Carissa long-term?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. All right. Thank you. Mr. Albee, questions?
I don't have any questions, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Kincaid?
Thank you, Your Honor. Are you familiar with Mr. Eddie Cochran and Patricia Cochran?
They are Carissa's, okay, it's a little weird, but they're Carissa's great grandparents, but they adopted Cody, so they're her grandparents. Yes.
Okay, and prior to this case or during the pendency of this case, have you had any contacts with him?
No, I have not, but I have had contact, spoken with Susie, which is Melissa Wilson. And I wanted to reassure them that they are not going to be cut out. They were always going to be a part of her life. I have 3 grandchildren that still live in Texas, 4 technically. And they live not 10 miles away from Cody's grandparents, from Pat and Ed. Okay. And anytime I'm there, I am more than willing to have Carissa visit with them. I do, as a grandparent, I would never want somebody to cut me out of my grandchildren's lives, and I have no intentions of doing that to them. And I thought they had already been reassured that Carissa, and as a matter of fact, my intentions are to bring Carissa to them before we leave so that they can see her. And anytime I come back during the summertime or Christmas or Thanksgiving, I am more than willing for them to spend time with her.
Okay, so if the department finds that they're safe and appropriate, you're not going to have any issue with working out some sort of visitation between you and them?
Exactly.
Okay.
And if the department says it has to be supervised, then we'll do supervised. If the department says that I have to stay with her while they're there, then I'll stay with her. If they say, oh yes, it's okay while I'm there in Texas, she can spend the night with them, that's fine too. But it's what the department states is okay. Not my decision. It's going to be your guy, the department's decision.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
All right. Mr. Harris?
No questions, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Ratliff, do you have any other witnesses?
No, sir, Judge.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Albee, witnesses?
No, Your Honor, we rest.
All right. Ms. Kincaid, witnesses?
Your Honor, I won't call any witnesses, but my client would like to request a home study on his paternal great-grandparents. That
Okay.
would be Eddie and Patricia Cochran. They're
Okay.
there in Tampa.
Okay. All right, then, Mr. Harris, did you have witnesses?
No, sir, I do not.
All right. Okay, then, Mr. Harris, recommendations?
Judge, it's my strong recommendation that Carissa be placed with Trina Younger, and the sooner the better. She's ready to get it done, and they've got a strong past relationship, and it's in her best interest to be placed there, Judge.
All right, thank you. And Casa?
It is our strong recommendation that Carissa be placed with her grandmother, Trina Younger.
Okay. All right, then. Okay, then, based on what I've heard today, as well as the home studies, both home studies that are on file at this time, I do find that it's in the best interest of Carissa Cochran that I grant Cassandra Cochran's motion for placement. I will order that Carissa be placed with Trina and Timothy Younger as soon as possible, from what I've heard today, based on weather conditions. And as always, it never hurts to have backup. So I will order the home study on Eddie and Patricia Cochran. Okay, our next scheduled hearing was for a permanency hearing on May 3rd, 2023. That will be by Zoom like today's hearing, so parties and attorneys can go on the court's online docket a day or two in advance to see exactly what time that hearing will take place. Ms. Younger, I'll advise you, you're welcome to attend you're welcome to sit in on any of these hearings. If you're not going to be a witness, you'll need to go on My Court's live YouTube to watch the hearings. If you're a witness, that's fine to join like you did today, but we try to keep the waiting room from being full of people that think they're going to get to come in to hear the hearing rather than watch it on YouTube. So, but anytime you're going to be a witness, you're just do like you did today.
Okay, okay.
Okay. All right, then. That will conclude this hearing.